This free acrylic tutorial is being brought to you by the Ginger Cook Academy of Fine Art and Acrylic Painting, and contributions from caring viewers like you. Now, on with the show. And now, without further ado, I have the distinguished honor and privilege of presenting to you the Queen of Color, the Mother of Artists, globally acclaimed, award-winning master acrylic artist, and the star of our show, Ginger Cook, as she once again mesmerizes her audience with the daring do's and don'ts of painting with acrylics.
Get ready. Oh, I did it right.
You did it right.
I did it right. I know I could figure it out. Hey, you're live.
Oh,
Up there.
awesome, awesome. Hi, guys. Hi, this is Ginger Cook, and you probably already know that. Somehow there's probably big words written everywhere on that page saying who this is, but I somehow feel obligated. You know, this kind of thing my mother would do. Did you remember when you were a kid, your parents told you how to introduce yourself to somebody, and
yes.
you had to introduce the people? And, you know, one of the hardest things for me is remembering names. I mean, people I've known forever. I get at a party, and I'm thinking, you know, this is, and I'll just face it, I just won't know who that person. I mean, I kind of just have never been good at remembering names.
Like that one guy we saw in the on the ship that one time.
Oh yeah, we met this one lady. I'd worked with her for months, you know, at painting parties, and I watched her face plant herself in the paint one time when she had
a little too much.
Well, whatever. She came to work a little high, I think. But I mean, she was just. I mean, I knew her, and she gave me gifts and things, and boy, I went to introduce her to John, and
I'm sitting there, I'm just standing there like, well.
So I feel that's okay that, you know, I just say my name again because I figure if anybody else has this problem, I'll just, oh yeah, that's who we're watching, Ginger Cook. I got it, right?
I can't remember who we want. What are we doing today?
What are we doing today? We're going to be doing something really fun today. I know a lot of people want to do palette knife, and the thing of it is I do things so small that palette knives are just not designed for that, all right? When palette knives are really designed for 16 by 20 and larger paintings. However, that being said, I can show you how to use a brush to make it give you the impression that you've done a lot of it with a palette knife. How's that?
Ooh,
so,
a fake
and
palette
sometimes
knife.
Rather than have the whole thing palette knife, thick and thin is nice. You know, you have something in the far background's not as thick, and then you start piling on the paint. And you can do that if you're using heavy body acrylic paints. You cannot do that if you're using student grade paints. However, you could buy some light whipped modeling paste from Liquitex, which is almost like, it's got a lot of air in it, and it's very light and whippy, and you could use that if you were using student grade paints and wanted that, because they're very thin, you want that sort of thick impasto effect. You can mix it with that, and someone says, well, how much should I put in there? And probably till the color starts to change. At least 50-50, I would guess. But, you know, so what's the advantage of that? Well, painting with a palette knife eats up about 90% more paint than a regular brush. And so when you're using mediums, particularly, I always suggest using mediums when you're actually doing palette knife painting, because mediums are a lot cheaper than paint. There you go. So tonight, that's what we're going to be doing. I want to thank our moderators who are here. Who is our moderators that are here?
Oh, we have Tonya.
Hi,
Judy,
Tonya. Hi, Judy.
Wendy.
Hi, Wendy.
And that's all, folks.
Well, listen, we appreciate it very much. It's been sort of a lot of flu's been going around lately, and computer issues and stuff. So we really appreciate our moderators, and what the moderators do. For those of you who don't realize it, you know, why do those guys have moderators? And they volunteer for this. Is that sometimes, usually it's kids will troll the internet looking for live shows to just be disruptive, and the moderators make your experience of asking questions and talking to the other artists that are going to be watching on this channel a very safe and nice place to be, because they have the ability to give the old heave ho. Remember that expression, the old heave ho?
The old
to anybody
heave-ho.
that's not hoeing the line here. How's that?
Towing the line.
Towing the line.
I remember that goes way back.
Yeah. So
way back. Somebody's asking, how's the new ring? How's the new ring working out?
Oh, you guys want to see this ring here? All right. So,
hey, that's not the engagement ring.
Oh, the engagement ring's great, but this ring here,
It's better than the engagement ring.
Well, no, but I'm telling you what, this is so cool. I've had this about a week now. And what I've discovered, because it tracks you and it tells you how many hours of sleep you've had, and how many steps you've taken, what your heartbeat is, what your resting heartbeat is, kind of this information. It helps you kind of, and then it has some little box called super activity level, which I've never been able to check that, so I don't know what that does because I've never done any of that. But were I to do that, apparently some numbers would appear in that box too. I don't know what that is. I don't have any. I'm walking on my treadmill, man. I figured 30 minutes a day, woohoo, right? Okay, so there.
Yeah.
And they will have some crazy number like 8,000 steps. Are you kidding me? I thought 3,000 would be a good start. That's my first goal, 3,000. But anyway.
3,000.
John's going to look that up going, Listen, it was like 5 steps before, from the restroom to the studio to the computer and back. So, I think 3,000 is an improvement.
I think it is. I think it's an excellent improvement.
And you got to start somewhere. And I'm telling you what happens to a lot of people when they're exercising is they get all gung-ho and then they injure themselves and then say, well, I tried. See, my foot, I'm limping now. What a bad idea that was. And so I'm trying not to self-sabotage by overdoing it. And I think that's a good story, too. You like it? It's a good one, right?
Whoa. I got my control. Don't worry. I got it.
All right, he dropped something. Okay, John, if you would be so kind, I want to show you something. We're packing to get ready for our birthday bash.
Hey, look at that. It's a birthday bash t-shirt.
Here's our birthday bash t-shirt. And this is so fun. And I love this. I would have worn it, but then I'm trying to keep everything clean for the trip. I have 2 of these. And
she already had paint on one of them.
Well, no, I got it off. The tub of towels. Now, listen, you guys. The tub of towels actually got the paint off the shirt. And then I washed the part where the tub of towels was to make sure it didn't keep taking color. And it got all the little paint bits off this shirt.
So if you don't have your tub of towels.
Well, and then so we have a new store. It's on Amazon. And no kidding, we have our own store now on Amazon, and all the neat stuff that we like for instance, if you like this t-shirt, Let It Go, I love these. I got more compliments wearing this on cruises, this Let It Go shirt. People would stop and say, oh man, cool shirt. Going, thank you. And yeah, so when you're cool to someone that's that age, you say, wow, everybody's going, cool shirt. So anyway, we've got the link on our store. It's how do you get to our store, John?
If you just do gingercooklive.gallery/Amazon, it'll take you right to it.
gingercooklive /gallery gingercooklive.gallery/Amazon. You can go right to our store. Now here's the thing.
Oh man.
If you're an Amazon fanatic like I am, and you want to do us a favor, this is really, I had no idea it worked like this. Just go to our store first before you go shopping.
It really does help us, guys.
That really, you want to help us out? That is huge. If you're going to buy it on Amazon anyway, I don't care if you're buying a big screen TV or a football or whatever it is you're getting. If you go to our store first, you don't have to buy a thing off our store. Just go to our store first and then head out.
Head out and go shopping.
And apparently, they think that for whatever reason, you wouldn't have gone to our store or Amazon and bought that television if you hadn't seen us first. Now, I don't know what one has to do with the other, but listen. Who am I to challenge their marketing? It helps everybody. You were going to buy that TV anyway or whatever. And also, of course, it's an easy way to find the links for the products that you'll see here used on the show. Now, it can't be everybody because Amazon doesn't carry all the stuff that we buy, all the people we buy from. But the stuff that we've really liked, the Sorel
transfer paper
and, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, you can get now as far as the Ginger Cook t-shirts. Where do they find those, John? So we don't have those on Amazon.
No, those are over on Teespring. Let me take that link off here.
John's going to put that link up too if you want to know where you get the t-shirts. Now I just thought you'd like to see that. My Cook art tube that I had done with this painting was really based off of the Liquitex, or the Matisse paint. See?
Yep. And that was done on that was a 6x8 originally.
That was originally a 6x8 that we blew up and did this with an abstract kind of background, which I think is kind of cool.
Can you access your store through Amazon Canada? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Try our link and see where it takes you.
We don't know. I don't know. When my daughter lived in Canada, she had I could buy some things from from Amazon, because I had joined Amazon Canada, but it wasn't the same. I did join it because it was easier to get stuff to her than send it from American Amazon. All right, so here's our
American Amazon. We are still setting up the pages. I mean, we just discovered that we could do this like 2 days ago.
Like 2 days ago, we got right on it. We had a store up in an hour. Are you not impressed or what? I mean,
We still got a lot more things to add to it, so kind of bear with us as we go through it.
But
and
we'll
get things up
add
there.
stuff in, and also you can. There's some way to join our store to become a member of our store somehow.
Well, somehow if you join it, because Judy sent us an email that she got every time we add something new, you get a little email that we sent you something.
So apparently there's some way to get affiliated with our store somehow or other, which I wish I could give you more details about that, but I'm clueless. But see if maybe you find out and tell us, huh? But anyway, then we'll spread the word. So that's just a nice thing to do. I mean, we're all friends here. You help out your friends. We appreciate it very much. And just like I say, it's a nice thing to do, and it's a lot easier to find stuff all in one place too. All right, so you see where I originally did this 6x8, and some of you may still want to do that. I felt I could do just as quickly the way I'm going to be painting this on a 9x12, so I'm doing this a little bigger than we originally thought. But that's all right. You can still paint along and do your small one if you want, or just follow along with me here. Is this palette in here, John?
Is this palette?
Is the palette in the picture?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That is a gorgeous palette that she worked with last night. Show them the fishy. Show them the
Okay,
fishy.
so this
you got to see the fishy for tomorrow.
This is tomorrow afternoon's.
Oh, that is so cool.
Isn't he cute? This is tomorrow afternoon's. I swear to God, I did not make this up. This is what this little fish looks like.
Oh,
Isn't that funny?
He is so cute.
Here's our little fish. We're going to be doing him tomorrow afternoon, 8x10. Okay, and that was the palette from that and the flowers. Kind of did them both last night, way into the night. So I don't know how many people give a rip about painting a fish, but if you do, then you can
It's
paint
a fun
along
fish.
with us.
It'll make you smile.
Yeah,
it's
make
a
you smile. I
fish.
mean, that's the idea. And then we're doing something great with this at some point. Maybe rolling it up, putting it in a tube, someone could win this.
Put it over to the side. Just be careful with it. Oh.
I threw it on the floor. All right.
Hey, does it help you no matter what I buy from Amazon, or do I need to buy stuff you all
No,
have?
it doesn't. It doesn't matter
anything.
what you buy. Go to the store first, and you can buy a rubber band. We don't care.
Well, wait a minute. Do they have rubber bands? I didn't look for rubber bands.
Yeah, they do. They have these add-on items that you can get. I'm getting to the
Yes,
point where I don't
anything.
even want to go. If you're an Amazon Prime member, I think Amazon Prime member or something, and then it makes a difference because you've got these things called add-on items on Amazon, and basically they're not worth shipping unless you buy a bunch of stuff. You just keep adding these things to your cart. So rather than make a trip to the drugstore for some rubber bands for your hair or some bobby pins or something.
That's what I did. I just put it in my cart and added it. We're always buying from them.
Yeah, eventually you get up to the $25 minimum, whatever it is, and then they'll let you have it, and they just throw in the shipping.
Hey, Jenny says you hit the follow button on the Amazon page.
Yes, that it? Follow button?
Follow button.
Okay. All right, follow button, you guys. Amazon page, and then you're following us. Woohoo! I mean, I think this is big excitement.
Well,
all
it is
right,
for us.
so here I'm going to just put this right there for a second.
I'm assuming the sound's sounding okay tonight from everybody because I haven't heard anybody complaining, so I'm going to take my earmuffs off.
All right, so this is halfway, right? This is about halfway, and then so this is about halfway, and so then my little house and stuff is about, okay, so if this is half, right, like this, and then this is where the horizon line is right about up here like that, okay? And then my little house is in there. So this is going to be sky, this is meadow, and then somewhere down in here is going to be flowers. Wow, how easy was that? And man, I couldn't believe she did it that quick. Yeah. Okay, so let's put out the colors we're going to need. I'm opening a brand new tube of golden titanium white. See how that goes.
It should go great.
Should go great. I always like new
Thank you,
tubes of
Gail.
paint.
She just linked through the Ginger store and bought a shirt.
Oh, wow, that's so cool. Wow,
John,
Gail,
I sound
awesome.
wonderful. Oh, I sound wonderful tonight. You both sound loud and clear. Yeah, I worked on the sound after last week's. What day was that?
This is Cad Red medium, and that's Cad Red
whole
medium.
line.
That's Cad Red light, I guess, and this is Cad Red medium. Okay, so it's a little bit darker, not much. Different brands of paint, and then we've got yellow oxide. We'll just start putting out some paint here. I think I'm going to need quite a bit of this yellow oxide color. Telling you what, when you paint larger and you paint thick, you eat up the paint. How's that? And then,
Don't go any higher, please.
okay, so then
You
we're
can
going to
go
come
off to the
over
right.
here and put
Thank you.
some purple. And we want some magenta here. That's quadrichrome magenta. Any old magenta is fine, whatever you got. The flowers are some of the things that you can actually paint right out of a tube, which can be helpful. So let's.
Was that golden open on purpose, that white?
No, no, that was a mistake.
That
But
was the open? You grabbed the opens?
I grabbed the open.
I can't believe you grabbed the open. That was for special events. And this is
No,
not a
no,
special
what you
event.
can use golden open for, it keeps your paint wet longer.
I know, but that's not what we're doing tonight.
Possibly true. Okay, well, we'll save this for later.
Thank you.
Thank you for whoever caught that.
Sue Dean caught that. She paying attention. I looked at the tube and I go, okay, maybe.
So then.
The canvas size right now, we grew from a 6x8 to a 9x12.
Okay, so we got to put out some other white paint. Well, all right, so.
Do you have some over there?
I do.
Okay.
This is probably pretty thicker anyway. Okay.
Pretty thicker.
Okay, so there we go. There's some white, yellow oxide. Oh yeah, the blues, phthalo blue and ultramarine blue. These are the colors we use all the time. Yeah. Now it's interesting. People said, what happens when you paint on a red canvas? How does that affect? It will affect the color underneath for sure. This red canvas.
The color underneath or the color above?
Color above. It's going to affect the color above because it's red underneath. Good catch. Haha.
The bear's on the duty.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So it's good to catch these things early. All right. So. What else? I think that's pretty good here. I think that's pretty much the palette. Put the thing in water. Let's get a larger brush because we're using a bigger canvas. Now we're going to start with white, little cad red medium like that, little ultramarine blue. Okay, now we've got sort of a grayed blue sky. Let's put a tiny bit of phthalo blue in it.
If I don't have cad red light, what can I use?
Just put more yellow in your reds. Just add more yellow.
Okay.
A little more blue. A little more. All right, now that's a little darker than, here's a little bit more cad red medium. I'm making kind of a gray blue. Do you see that? Let's take a little tiny bit of yellow in that. There we go. I'll get this color the way I want it. Kind of a steel warm blue. Oh, that's beautiful right there. Kind of a steel blue. And I want to come up here like this and just paint over. Now notice I'm going down and across. We didn't bother to sand this canvas. It's got a very sloppy coat of red on it, probably something I did. It's not one of John's coats of red. He pointed that out very nicely too. So I didn't paint that like that. Now I'm going to just kind of.
Hey, we'd like to thank Kelly for buying 3 shirts, one for the husband, one for the granddaughter, and one for herself.
Ooh, wow. Thank you very much, guys. Wow, that's great. All right, now you see what we did there. Now I'm going to get a little white paint on the brush, right? Look how I'm holding the brush, please, like this. See it? Yep.
Oh, you're using the flat thingy?
And then I'm going to come up here like this, barely touching it.
Well, it's still wet.
It's still wet, and I'm going to just almost tap in some cloud-like things. I just flatter the brush like that, just holding it real flat, and suggest some clouds back here.
I still like the mouth.
Yes and yes. And I think I'm going to lower this a little bit too. I think I want to lower all this down here like this. A little bit more, a little bit of white, and there, something like this. Okay, so that's the background. Now I want some of that in here too. I want to come down here and just suggest, let's be a little bit more phthalo with that because we're coming down. You know, water often reflects the sky. Just keep it going back and forth and pretty level. Something like that, okay? That's pretty easy, yeah? Now the brush gets rinsed. Okay, now wiped off like this. And I'm pretty good with this. I don't have to do a lot here. I could make a green. Now, we talked about this before. I want a dark green first, so I'm not going to try and make a dark green here because I've got too much white in that. So I'm going to start with the blue and a little bit of purple and a little bit of yellow. Okay, a little more, that's ultramarine blue. Red shade. That's a pretty good dark green. I could put a tiny bit of magenta in it if I wanted it a bit darker, like 1%. And then I'm going to come up here using this brush like this, same brush, right? On this edge like this. And I'm going to tap in just like this. I'm just going to tap in.
And what brush is that you have now?
This is just a bright.
Looks like an 8?
Yeah, like a number 8. And then as I come over here, I'll make it a little bit smaller, getting into that gray part there. Come in here like that. All right, good. Next over here, we're going to do that this way. I'm going to say that there's some sort of bushes here. Going to let some of that red show around our bushes. Just peek out a little bit. We're going to say here's our dark bushes in here. Then grab a little bit of yellow oxide on the brush at the same time, yeah. Tap that in here just like this. Then come in here, a little bit of white on the brush. Come back in here like this and suggest right in here that there might be, let's take a little bit of this blue color. There might be something happening back in here that's in the distance, like that. Okay, now wipe the brush. Okay, now let's take a little bit of yellow and white, like that. Oh, this is all wet on wet stuff. Now tapping that in here like this, coming up on this side. And the same thing back in here. I'm going to just underneath here, I'm just going to tap that in there. Let some of that dark show.
You haven't washed your brush, you just wiped it
I've just
off?
been wiping it. Just wiping it. And I'm not talking too much about it. Here's a little yellow oxide, tap it off, put it on, tap it off. Just the next little bit of color. All right, now, good. Now, haven't washed the brush. Now, we're going to start coming down here with the yellow oxide, like this. Start pulling it down in sort of an uneven pattern. Okay, so I'm going to come up here like this. Your pattern doesn't have to be exactly like mine, but we're going to start making this, and all the brush strokes are going up and down, okay? Saying that all up and down, we'll leave some of this red showing, like that. Got to put something on here, yeah?
Yes,
So here you go. Now you notice that there's quite a bit of paint on this brush now. We're not fooling around with it. We're putting quite a bit. Now, as I come down this way, I'm going to
Did Ginger ever give the link to the beauty lady she watches in Australia?
Well, it wasn't a link exactly because I wasn't sure how to do that. Her name is, I forget, but what she does, her channel is Fabulous 50s.
Fabulous 50s?
Yeah.
So do a Google search for Fabulous 50s in YouTube. Or just do a search in YouTube.
Yeah, now see how there's a little bit of green
Fabulous
on my
50s.
brush? And so as I do this, you see how the green's happening because I didn't wash my brush? See, and so I'm making a little bit of this green color in here and blending it in all while it's wet. See that? Because as I got down into this section, just come down in here like this. Now I want to add a little bit of cad red light and yellow oxide, okay, and a little bit of white. How's that? Well, that's sort of pretty. Let's do that. Now I'm going to just barely touch this. Just tap this in here. Okay, going across here like this. Just tap it across. Tap, tap, tap. That's pretty. Where else can we put it? Okay, maybe in here like this. Because everything is layered. You know, we did this. I'll tell you, I showed you this technique when we did that that tree with the meadow and the field. You know, last summer on YouTube, we did that. Do you have that picture anywhere? You know the one I mean, with the tree and the road and the flowers? That one? This is the same technique, by the way, so we did in that meadow. All right, so I'm going to grab a little of this green now, and just on my brush, while this is still wet, come in here, across here like that, tap a little bit darker.
I don't know exactly which one you're talking about.
It's got the big kind of oak tree and a fence and a road, and it's got all those flowers
I
and dark
remember
green.
that one.
Yeah, that one, it's the same technique as what we're
That's
doing
going to
here.
be over on the other side.
Okay, that was the same technique. Here, let's come up here and do a little of this right in here. See, it's interesting because when you're doing something like this, the trick, you know, quite frankly, the trick is to vary the colors. All right, so I'm going to get a little bit of white and yellow oxide, and I'm going to lighten up the field up here as we go forward. And just keep coming on down with the same dirty brush. Do you love it? And I'll let some of that red show through. I like painting like this, and you know, and if you're doing this bigger, you'd use a bigger brush. This is about the size brush. For the small one, I used one of these small angle brushes, you know, like 1/4-inch angles. I used something like this for the other one. So it just depends on, you know,
How
the
big
size of the
was.
brush. Or if I was doing it bigger, I'd probably do this with a palette knife. Okay, so here it goes, a little bit lighter in here like this. Let's come back with a little magenta and yellow oxide now. That's pretty. That's too
That gives a
yellow.
nice
Let's
peachy.
take some yellow in that, right? Like that. Ooh, that's pretty. What's that color? That's kind of nice. If we took about 1% purple in it, purple, grayish, yellow, what did that do? Boy, that was too much, but that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Let's do some of that color. Kind of almost a summer wheat color. All right, we'll bring that down. Let's bring a little bit of white into that. Here we go. Again, keep changing in your out of your neutrals. Okay.
What can Maria is asking, what can you do to keep the paint on the canvas wet to be able to do the wet on wet painting like you're doing without using water like you're doing?
It just stays wet if you're using heavy body paint. It does stays wet. You just do sections at a
mister probably
time.
doesn't hurt it either.
You do sections at a time. You just keep working in one section. Like for instance, this is tacky now, but in 10 minutes it'll be dry, right? But this is tacky enough where I were to do this now. Now look here, it's going to grab that paint. Here's that lighter yellow, right? It's going to grab that paint like this, and it'll give me a different color in here. Maybe I'll do something like this. And that will grab that paint where it wouldn't have done that before. You got to understand when you need to dry something. You know, sometimes it's tacky, it'll grab a little bit of paint. Oh, we haven't ever talked about that.
No, we really haven't.
We
That
haven't
could
really
be,
talked about
that
that.
might be a 5-minute thingy.
Well, we should add that because
you could do it now, but you could-
it's really a tacky business where the paint's tacky. It's not real wet anymore. So when you tap something on, it has a tendency to want to grab. Like for instance, here's some yellow and red, right? Cad red, right? And I want to make a little bit brighter.
Now, is that tacky there or is that still wet?
This is a little just tacky now. See, so it wants to grab it. Okay. And now I'm kind of layering on some colors. Now notice I'm staying in the greens and oranges. Okay. And I'm not getting too carried away, and I'm doing the sort of the light ones up here like that, right? And if I add a little more cad red with it, I might come up here like this and still tap it. This green is wet, so if I start mucking about in the green, I'll turn everything muddy color.
Don't want to do that.
So I'm going to just brighten up some of this up here like this, and maybe up around my lake.
Yes, it's best to work in sections.
Yeah, absolutely.
Work in
Work in
sections.
sections.
And then Donna, wait, it was in here. I saw it. Don't go away.
Okay.
Donna's asking, did you come up with this technique on your own, with your own experiences, or what's it all
Donna, when I
about?
started, I was 17 years old when I picked up my first acrylic set of paints, and nobody knew jack about them. 99% of what you see on my channel, I've invented. If other people are doing it, I was like one of the first. I mean, nobody ever used stucco until the way I used it. And used to win awards for my paintings because Liquitex never intended stucco to be the way I used it. And so much of what I do is just stuff that I learned. And you know,
Well, even the angle brush, that lady, she goes, when they invented that angle brush, they did not think it wasn't designed for that.
Yeah, the lady that invented the Silver Brush Company couldn't believe that that's what I'm using an angle brush for, right? So, you know, so this is, you know, yeah, so it's mostly me, I have to say, mostly me. Now, see how I'm pushing the brush flat now? And I've got these colors on it. Look at that. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so I don't have to do too much more. It's kind of a nice painting. I haven't done much, right?
No,
Okay,
you've just been
it
sitting there
really-
talking.
Now, the thing of it is I want to get into some blues and greens colors. And I think I could get away with that. So if I took some white and a little yellow and phthalo blue and made sort of a pretty phthalo green color, see that? I might come up here like this and just tap some of this, the lightest one up here like this, because I want something light like this. And I might come up here and just tap a little of that in there like that, as long as I'm doing it. Let me put a tiny bit of ultramarine blue with that when I'm coming up here like this. Tone that down so it's not as bright as this. A little more blue in this, right? Here's a little bit darker blue, see? A little bit more of the phthalo in it, less of the yellow, okay? I might come up here like this and just tap a bit of this color in here. Everybody says, I know you love color. I do love color. And I think that's kind of pretty. And I don't have any particular reason why that blue's there, except it makes me happy. How's that? Just I look at that and I go, ooh. It's kind of like, you know,
It's like that fish.
You know, when I was a kid, I really liked frosting. I realized that I like cake, but really the good part of the
frosting,
cake was the frosting, was it? And you know, if it was roses or great things, you know, it was better. But frosting out of a bowl wasn't shabby. So pretty much by the time I was 10, you know, maybe 8, maybe, I had figured out how to make it myself. Oh, couldn't cook scrambled eggs, but I could sure make frosting. Well, actually, I could do eggs too.
Did you do the powdered sugar one?
Did the powdered sugar, and then I discovered blue food coloring, and all my frosting was blue.
I did blue.
Did you do blue frosting?
I did blue.
You did? That was my favorite color, blue frosting.
I can't believe we did the same thing.
We did the same thing, and then what are you eating? Pudding? Nothing?
Blue pudding?
That's nothing. What are you eating? Nothing?
Oh, that's a good one.
All right, so you saw that, and I'm going to put a little bit of ultramarine blue and phthalo together. Maybe
Isn't there a gel or something you could add to your paint to slow down the drying to give you more time?
Well, you can use, but remember, you can use, like, for instance, if, again, it depends what you're trying to do. We're going to be painting in Impasto, but you can use, I like the liquid, the golden glazing medium, the satin glazing medium. Golden.
Blah, 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 blah.
Golden. Don't start with me.
No, ma'am. Mm-mm.
You wouldn't want to do that. Don't make fun of old people. It's really not nice, right? It's called
old people
elder
in here.
abuse, right?
Elder abuse.
It's called elder abuse,
Give me
Mr.
a
Little.
break.
Okay. All right. Ooh, I like that little
It's
bit
not
of
your
blue
birthday
there.
yet.
Not my birthday yet. That's right. Boy, I'm telling you what. At the point where they start telling you can't go on excursions anymore because you passed the limit.
But isn't it interesting how after you made that complaint that most of those ages have been removed?
No, because I really went hopping mad on that. All right, I'm just going to take a minute and dry this. How's that? John, have you got anything fabulous to show our friends while I'm drying this? Nothing. His mouth is open going, zip, nada.
Let's just mute you. Hold on. Talk.
Well, there's no hairdryer. How's that possible?
Oh, because it's plugged into my heater over here.
He plugged in the heater? Did you mute me?
I'm muting you so you can complain. Hey, at least it's plugged in the bathrooms down the hall. Okay, this isn't going to work.
What? What?
Nothing. Nothing like mine.
There's a lot of silence here, and you're doing nothing. You said I was muted.
Not. Jeez.
He said I was muted, didn't he?
More than I unmuted you.
Then he's sitting here complaining. I thought we were muted the whole time.
Now you're muted. Okay, I'm going to put up our T-shirts because I can. Bam. I don't have anything else to show tonight. We are getting ready for our cruise. We have a show tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central Time, tomorrow, Saturday. And then we're not going to be live again until after the birthday bash. And we will post it on YouTube once we know exactly when we'll be back among the living. Huh.
I'm unmuted now.
You are unmuted.
All right. Listen up, you folks. Here we go. This is the house.
Let me just listen. Go ahead and say something.
Hi.
Out of everything in the world you can say, hi. You've been on this show for what, a half an hour? Oh, hi. Can you say something? Yeah, hi. You can say, how about subscribe to us?
Bonjour, subscribe to us.
Oui, madame.
Comment ça?
Oh, no. I don't think so.
All right. You ready? Are we down here, right? Now, we're talking about El Hauso, right?
What are we talking about?
These little houses here, yes and yes?
El Hauso?
Okay, El Hauso.
El Hauso? Okay.
Mia casa. All right, so now. All right, so you've got a straight line here, and you've got a line like this. Everybody's with me on that? There's house. There's house, okay? Then we've got maybe a house coming across here, another one coming up like this. This will be the roof, and this will be the roof here. then maybe one coming like this. These are boxes, think of shoe boxes. Vary the height, okay? Something like that. If you didn't want those houses, you could make a little house like this if you want it to look a little bit more American. Something like that. If
Now,
you
why
felt,
is that more American versus what you had before?
well, this is the kind of farmhouse you often see in Europe. This kind of one was kind of slanted like this. You don't see that here as much.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, you just don't. You might have a house like this, something like that, right?
Okay.
But we need some sort of little buildings up there, right? So we'll take a small little brush and some white paint, and we'll start with the first one. They're not gonna be any higher than this. They're gonna be little in the background. So I'm gonna start with this and make that little triangular.
How many
Roof.
cookies does this lesson, and how many cookies is the fishy?
Oh, I don't know. This is pretty easy, you guys. This is pretty easy.
I think this is a 1. The
think-
fish
yeah.
is probably 1.5.
Yeah, they're pretty easy.
They're both pretty easy.
The thing about the fish that's a little
Is all
more
the dots.
challenging is all those stupid dots. But
They're not
you
stupid.
sock folders will love it, right?
I loved it.
All right, so here we go. So kind of off-white house. We got a little one right here. All right, we're going to say that there's our. We'll bring them down a little lower, like that. Yes and yes. Okay, there's our little houses back there, and we're not going to do anything else about those. We're just going to say they're back there. And maybe we'll take a little of this gold color. Come here like this, little yellow oxide, got a little bit of white on the brush. There we go. Here we go. Okay, something like that. Okay. Now, I think we could have something a little lighter back here in our sky. It dry a little dark. Do you see that? So this is where people always say, it came up today in a question, is there some way to make transparent white? Not effectively that I know of. This is a transparent white. You either want to use zinc white or mixing white, but you can buy a little tube. This is like white's like the cheapest color there is, right? Like yellow is very expensive. White's like really cheap. I mean, we're not talking a lot of money. Yes, darling. What?
The satin glazing. I wonder if that would do it with the titanium, because it makes it transparent.
No, it won't. It just will smudge it.
It was a suggestion.
It was all right. It's good to suggest things.
We
All
were
right.
just thinking outside the box over here.
I know, and people have asked me, but I just don't know. So I'm going to come up here with the zinc white now and a clean dry brush, and I'm just going to come over here and just make another little layer of
Color.
of clouds. And because they're translucent like that, I just want this next layer of clouds in here like this. And this is this is a very nice thing. It's usually a little lighter toward the horizon, and this can be very effective, as opposed to say tight down. Look how white these houses are. So you wouldn't want that on your, you wouldn't want that back in here. You could, if you do it a little bit thicker, it'll be somewhat brighter, but it won't be as light as these houses here like that. And it's generally not a shabby idea to have this mist coming up like that. There you go. All right, so there's our next layer of clouds, and I think I still could go even a bit brighter here. Just have the outside edge be just a little bit. All right, so there's that. That was fun. And then if I did that, maybe I might put a little bit of that kind of in my pond, like just a few little. This is the transparent white again. Just kind of smudge it through here. Don't overdo it. Just saying that the sky is kind of, water's a mirror. It acts like a mirror to everything, okay? So, all right, so we're not getting too crazy with this, yeah? Now, I've got a, maybe I can draw that in. Let's see, let's make a little bit of, I'm in an angle brush now, a little phthalo blue and yellow and white, titanium white, okay? Little tiny bit of magenta with that to tone that green down a little bit, right? I'm going to have a stalk of flowers coming up here like this. Like that. I want a stalk of flowers coming up here like this. I think I want it a little bit, now that I've decided, I did it real light so I could see where I wanted it, right? Okay, so here we go. I want a stalk of flowers coming up there like that. And then I'm going to use the angle brush to tap on some leaves like that, some sort of little flowery stalk things here, and maybe I'll put some over here too. Maybe have something growing here too. Just some flowery stalks. Any questions while we're doing this?
Nope, we're working on squeaking. People are hearing a squeaky.
a squeaky noise. It's just, really?
They are, I'm not.
Okay. So that's nice. So where else could I put this green? It's pretty bright to go back here. I could add a little yellow oxide to that and maybe add a little bit of this green in here like that. Let's put a little bit magenta with it so it's not quite so bright. There we go. Let's just tone this green down, put some coming this way. This is where you start layering your colors. And a picture like this you can play with for a while because I know I want some brighter colors coming up this way. And this is where my, just a little bit of an angle brush. This is one of these silver, ruby silver satin. This one is a silk, and I think I don't want to use the silk for this. I'd rather have a little bit stiffer brush because I don't want it so soft. So I'm going to come up, it's going to give me a little bit more bounce on the brush. Okay, so I'm going to come up here like this and do that. Just start layering in some colors. And as I see this, do you see where back some things have kind of dried, gotten a little darker? Let's see. So notice that we're making some interesting greens. Ultramarine blue will gray a green. So we're going to just start pulling down the grass. Did you remember that if you haven't seen the Ginger's Gem on grass, on the direction of grass, I would strongly suggest you watch it. Somebody said that right now, give us a thumbs up. Give me a yay or something if you haven't seen.
We are going back to jigsaw days.
I want you to give me a yay if you got, if you've seen any of our gems, Ginger's Gems. Let us know. If you haven't, this is a new 5-minute videos on just painting tips that will make your life ever so much easier. Okay.
I would classify them as under 10 minutes.
Under 10 minutes, and they're really good. I have one called, the direction of grass, painting grass. And this is a perfect example of a painting where that would be applicable. I want the brighter the green, I'm going to do it a little bit up front. There'll be a couple places where the green is pretty bright. Now red and green are complements, so if you start putting red over wet green, you'll have a mess. You won't have bright colors. Won't be nice. So here, we're just going to start putting in some blue greens in here. And some, you see how I keep changing the greens a little bit more forceful?
Yeah. Seen them all, seen several, all of them. They're great. Yay.
Oh, good. I'm glad you see them.
We love the gems. Seen 2 gems. Love the gems. How many gems do you have out
there?
There's
5.
There's
5
gems.
And they're worth it. And the thing is, we have a playlist for them. And we're putting the newest, Ginger's Gems on the playlist. We're putting the newest one
at the top.
At the top, right? The oldest one at the bottom. Obviously.
So the latest one will always be at the top and be pushed down.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a little bit of yellow.
I managed to watch one of the gems. Gail, you're in trouble.
Well,
I'll
tell you what, if you catch those, they're so, you'll start saving them in your own playlist, and what's going to happen is that some of the things that happen to artists that I see as a personal art coach, I do personal art coaching 4 or 5 hours a day. I'm helping people with their art. They send me their artwork through a ticket system and our website, and then I look at their painting and either the reference photo they used to paint it or one of my tutorials, and then I take it into a video part on my, on my computer, and I speak to each person personally. It's like me talking to you personally about how you can improve your artwork. And what I see, these gems are based off the mistakes that everybody seems to consistently make. So the gems are going to really help you. They really are little gems of information.
Hold on a second. I can turn this one up.
One of our viewers said that she would.
Hold on.
Don't kidding. On my computer, and I speak to each person personally. It's like me talking to you personally about.
They're getting feedback through there. I'm not getting it on here. I don't know where it is. Oh, there it goes. Hold on.
Is there a problem with our video? Again.
No, just the mic.
Oh, John.
It was doing beautifully, Samuel.
What happened?
Okay, I muted me again. Must be mine again.
Okay. There's a little bit of dark going up here around our houses. We're planting some bushes around these houses like that. Kind of putting them back in there.
Hello.
Now I want some white and a little magenta and a little purple. Okay, am I muted? Who's muted? You're muted? I'm muted?
I don't. Hello, hello. No, you're fine.
I'm fine.
You're fine.
I feel fine. All right, so
Well, you look fine.
here's a little bit of purple now, barely touching it. This is dry enough, kind of keeping it away from the greens, right? Going to start putting a little bit of this lavender color in the front, just kind of bringing it along here. Not past, I'm not bringing it back into here, but if I wipe this off, the brush off, I can just, let's see, put a little more white with that, and just put a little of that on these houses back here. Just tone those back just a bit.
Just a bit.
Just a tiny bit. And as long as we're doing that, here's some cad red medium and a little bit of purple. Now, I want more, a little brighter than that. Now, here we go. Just using the angle brush here. What happened?
I don't know. I quit. I'm not working anymore. I quit. I'm giving it up. No more such foolishness.
Okay. So put the red there, and then I'll put a little bit of brighter red on top. Right like that. A little bit of brighter red right on top here. That was my dark one. Okay. John is still just confused, not at all sure what's happened here with his stuff. Okay, so is this pretty kind of tacky now? All right, let's change brushes. I'm sorry you're having trouble, John. I'm going to go into a smaller brush. And what I want to do is I'm going to take some white paint and I'm going to start painting in some of my poppies.
I'm going to start painting in some of my poppies.
Yep, I'm going to but white first because I want them brighter.
I'm going to paint my poppies.
Why are you repeating everything?
Why are you repeating it? I'm trying to get my voice close to yours. I'm on a different microphone now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Besides, it drives them nuts.
Well, we'd like people to finish watching the video. Do you notice how some of these are top? We're not doing polka dots, please. No polka dots. We got polka dots, and that is for our other... Tomorrow, those polka dot people are going to have a blast. You can do polka dots all over the polka dot fish, yes? But we're not doing polka dots in the flowers.
In the flowers.
So here's
it's
almost a rectangle, then kind of spread out on the sides, right? It's not a circle. And... you know, all right, and as we go further back, we want them smaller. Okay, and they're smaller. And I've got one, two, three. Yeah, I'm going to put another big one right here. And then we're going to just do a few little dots back here like this. Okay. And now, while we're waiting for that, let's take a little bit of the magenta and white. And I want to just tap. I'm going to grab a little glob of paint. You see all the glob? You can zoom in on this. It'd be good.
Zoom in on what you're doing over there?
Yeah, zoom in on it. A little glob of paint here. And I'm just going to drop these, and then they get tinier as they go up. These little stalks of color. Just magenta, a tiny bit of white on the brush at the same time. So you just use the corner of the brush and drop it. Tap it, and it will give you sort of a double whammy, and they get, like I say, these get smaller as they go back, and you can use just that angle brush to just drop off a little bit of these. Some are going to be, maybe one will be a little taller than another, something like that, and we want those to show up. And let's put a little white here. Just drop a little white. And I'm going to bring these down here like this. And so they're a little bit wider down here at the bottom. Okay, so there's that flower. And let's do these here. Okay. And then I'm just going to say I've got a bunch down in here, and I'm just going to tap a few dots in here like that. Okay? But they're all kind of overlapping. So then the trick is you got to fill in the space. All right, you've got to fill in all the space with the flowers. And as we get colors, as we do colors, this is the fun part of a painting like this. As we do these colors, like for instance, like this, maybe I'll put a little dab of yellow right here, and maybe put a little bit of yellow oxide with that. Here's a little orange. I might put something here like that, or just drop some color down here like this. And maybe I want a little brighter color back up in here. Okay. Now here's some magenta in Cad Red Medium, and that's a pretty good red. And I can say that, you know, without putting it on white, I can start tapping some brighter colors this way, but I'm keeping all the brush strokes pretty flat. The only round flowers are like down in here. There might be one here. Let's put a little one right here. You can have some that are not white. Does that make sense? You can, because the flowers that you put in that are not white, that you just say paint magenta and you know, orange or something, they're still going to show. They just won't be as bright as these white ones. Does that make sense? And I see I've got some water there I don't want. Okay. So then we're just going to sit there and suggest that we've got flowers, and everything gets smaller as they go back.
Carol would like to know, will all those globs of paint be rough on the brush?
No. No, they're very soft till they dry. It's like Vaseline or something. See how we just kind of, you know, bringing the colors up? And it's interesting to me because as I look at my painting and see what's happening is it's drawing darker. So I want a lighter yellow, like kind of a gold color, maybe a little yellow oxide in that. Want a lighter color. I'm going to come up here like this, start tapping in some lighter colors, pulling it down here, seeing where I want some lighter colors to be. A little bit of yellow oxide here. And just little tiny, these overlapping brush strokes takes a little bit of patience because what you're not trying to do is cover up what you've got. Does that make sense? You're trying to just add to, and this is where it can get a little complicated. Now that red's kind of wet, so if I go next to it, I'm sort of blending that out too. You see that? Sort of blending some of that red out, and I'm to keep bringing in some lighter colors, a little more golds in the front here. Okay. Like that. And I sort of toned down that purple. You saw that magenta. And if you take a little magenta and ultramarine blue and white, that's a really pretty color. You can just, that's a, let's see, a little ultramarine blue, white, and add to that. That's sort of nice. It kind of got some blue tones to it. Okay.
Cheryl would like to know, Ginger referred to the audience as artists. What does she consider an artist?
Well, that's an interesting question, Cheryl. So, I mean, I think that, you know, I think that we're all artists. It's, you know, we're all artists, even people who don't think themselves as artists, right? But chances are, if you're watching this channel, you have an interest in it, interest in the art. There's, you know, even if you're not painting anything, right? I think your interest kind of makes you an artist. Maybe you're an artist. Maybe your artistry is in gardening, or maybe it's in the way, maybe your inside of your house is a painting, the way you've decorated it. I think artist really for me is a creative person. And I think that chances are if you're drawn to this channel, you're creative in some way. So that's why I think of the people watching us as artists for sure. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me, doesn't it? Well, I'd go for someone to tell me that. I think that sounds kind of good. Okay, so
You'd fall for that one.
I'd fall for that. I believe, really? Oh, good. Yeah.
Ooh, wow, I'm an artist.
But I actually believe that. Here's an interesting color. This is called luminous yellow.
That's a great color.
And this is really bright. This is like school bus danger zone yellow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where you put this, you really want it. Okay?
It's going to be there.
It's going to be there, and it's going to just say hi. All right? And you do want very little of that, if any. I'm just showing you that it can be very pretty. Flowers are some of the few things, and remember, a lot of this is wet, so it's being toned down by this. You would never put it back there. Flowers are some of the few things you can do that you can just pull out all the stops as far as colors go. Just because that's how they show up in nature. This is cadmium yellow light. Okay. And did you know you can't mix cadmium yellow light? You can add white to cadmium yellow medium, but you will not get this color. Close, but you won't get this color. Now here's some white, cad yellow medium.
You're off my palette.
Here it is, right
Let
there.
me change my palette.
It's close, right? It's close, but it's not quite the same. So here, I'll put some on there. Here's white and a little cad yellow medium, and then here's some cadmium yellow light. See how much brighter it is? So again, it's probably in 100 paintings, I haven't used cad yellow light. But, you know, what's the point of doing a show like this if you don't show people, you know, what you can do, right? And particularly in something like this where you want to kind of bring your eye up toward the front, you can add a little bit of this yellow in here. See how my eye's coming up to the front now because it's brighter up here? And I'm bringing our eyes up here like this, and I'm saying I'm bringing the viewer in here and kind of playing with the light patterns, okay? Now, all right.
Where did you get the inspiration for this painting from Miss Lorraine?
The inspiration from this painting was from a cruise John and I were on, and just some flowers we saw. There's just pretty stuff. So I'm going to, and also I have an awful lot of paintings in our gallery that are, this is sort of, I have variations of this, different flowers. But also we've done fields of poppies and stuff. And I've got a lavender field with a house like this, so I combined some stuff too. All right, I'm going to dry these white flowers, okay?
Okay. All right, she's off and drying once again. We thank everybody showing up tonight. Like I said, we'll be going on the birthday bash cruise, leaving on Sunday, and we won't be back for a couple of weeks. We'll be live at some time, but we'll have lots of different YouTube activities for you, and VLL, and Academy stuff, and Facebook stuff while we are cruising the 7 seas. All right, just the Caribbean. Close enough to the 7 seas. And other than that, I think we got most of the questions. She has several issues. I saw one go by a while ago. The Fisher had ones on making greens. Since she makes all of her greens, yeah, there's several different options for you to find out how she makes her greens. I think YouTube has an Adventures in Green, and there are several in the Academy where she makes the greens as well.
All right, so we're good with this. So we're going to start putting on our red poppies. We're going to start with our darkest red first, which would be Naphtha Crimson. I hadn't put any of that out yet. Here's Naphtha Crimson. That's your dark red, your deep dark. That's your color wheel red, right? Okay, so we're going to start with the Naphtha Crimson on one, like that. Okay, then I'm going to wipe the brush, take a little bit of Cad Red Medium and do a little highlight on that on top. Now I'm just going to do Cad Red Medium on this one. I want this one a little brighter. And the same thing here, a little Cad Red Medium on here. And I'm just starting. If you put your flowers over white, they will be brighter than if you put them over red. Here's another red one right here. And when it goes into the green, look, it's going to be darker, okay? So that's why we're doing this right now. Putting this, a little bit of red here on this one. And that's why we're doing these flowers like that. They will be brighter. Already you can see how these are brighter than that one. Okay.
Could you use lemon yellow and magenta to make your orange?
You could. You could. And you should play with a lot of different magenta and yellow and all kinds of stuff. Play with your colors a little bit.
Yeah, play with magenta.
For sure. For sure. I might even add a little bit of yellow to this Cad Red Medium and make a brighter, look at that's a brighter flower there too. A little bit of yellow into the red. And see, I mean, there's a little bit of yellow on this. Just going into the yellow and fairly thick paint and dropping it on there, look at that. And then I'm using quite a bit of paint on the brush. A little bit more red here like that. So this is where you sort of kind of like frosting a cake, or you start putting in a little bit thicker paint, okay? like that. So you're putting in the thicker paint, and then as you come back, you can start deciding where else you want your colors. And you want some to touch. Okay, I can't say that enough. You want some of these colors to sort of touch. And let's see, let's get some yellow over here. I want some oranges up in here like this. I'm gonna just do some other flowers. Kind of dot some up like this. A little bit of this color. Just say I've got something growing back over in here. Then instead of rinsing, okay, and I might go over reds a couple times too. Reds are some of those colors where if you go over them a couple times, it's not a terrible idea, yeah? Let's try a little bit of purple and ultramarine blue. A little bit of purple. A little bit of this red color in it. All right, let's start with a little darker one. Some colors are a bit darker here. So add some darker colors in here like this. Little magenta with that, kind of brighten that up. And then if that's not brightening enough, put a little white with it. There, now look what happens there. So it's just a matter of mixing these colors. People say, is this a 1 or 2 cookie lesson? In the sense that that the newest artist will just keep going over the same spot again and again until, you know what I mean? They'll just keep going over and over again. And what you have to do is put it and leave it, even if you don't like it, what you did, put it and leave it, and then come back to it. Because if you do that, you want to come back to it. Let's see, I lost my phthalo blue. I thought that was my pile, but maybe it wasn't. I can't remember now. Where's my labels? All right, let's try that. That's, I know it's phthalo blue. Let's try some white with this. All right, so there we go. I want some lighter blue color up in here, like that. Let's try a little green. Okay, now you have to be careful. You have to stay away from that red if you're doing green, because otherwise you'll have a hot mess, right? So you're sort of, the trick is to sort of stay, you know, if you're going to be doing this, either dry the red or kind of be aware of where you're putting it. See, we keep lightening our colors now. Here we go. And it all gets layered. I think this is sort of a fun picture because it's not something you think of. You put the color down and then you layer it, and then just keep moving around and find your pattern, okay? Okay, let's put this in here like that. And the thing is I've got a pretty good cheat sheet right here of where I want my colors, because I worked on this last night. I just didn't, okay? Because I know where I want the colors. So a little bit of white, phthalo blue, a little bit of yellow. There we go, that's a pretty nice color right there. A little bit of yellow. Ooh, that's kind of a turquoisey color. Isn't that kind of a nice color? Let's put more white with it. See, and if you'll see me, I'm doing a little bit of light color here. And if it isn't as light as I want, and the old adage, how do you decide where you're putting stuff? Well, wherever there's a light, there's a dark. So if I got something dark, I want something light next to it to show up, like that. And I'm going to say I want some little lighter bits of grassy stuff in here, like that. Then I start going around. And that's why, you know, when you say, well, can you follow this exactly? Well, probably not, but you can, here, I'm just into white now, just a little bit of white here. I'm going to say, got some white flowers here, maybe. But there's green on the brush, so nothing's ever completely white, right? So maybe we're going to say there's, I'm just going to do a few little dots now. We did some up and down stuff. I'm just going to suggest there might be some little light dots here or something, using just the side of my brush. And they're not polka dots, they're just sort of tapped in a row here. Okay, so I'm getting pretty close to to finding this to be pretty good here. Let's get a little bit darker color up here around my pond, and not the whole thing. I'm not outlining the whole thing, but I might do a little bit of darker red right here. See, it depends on what color I want, where I'm going to put it. Something up there like that. And let's see, what else can we, oh yeah, let's get a little green, a little darker green back in here now. It's just a little bit of this blue-green up here like that. A little bit of blue-green up in here. And a little bit darker green back up by our houses. Remember, we were just gonna plant some bushes. They're growing around here, and then I might want a bush like, let's see, I might want to say that there's a bush like this, a couple of these here, those kind of tall trees like that. Might put one there. Okay. So what we've done is we've given that a little depth, yeah? And maybe I'm just going to say that there's something back in here that's very light, that's a part of this background. There you go, something like that. So now we've gone way back here in the depth. You see that? These have got shorter, and you've got some real distance in this painting just by doing that. Okay, so then a little bit of purple. Any questions while I'm just yakking away here?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I haven't seen anything go buzzing by in a while.
All right, there. There's some little tiny windows in the houses back there. So then what am I going to do now? What I'm going to do while I'm waiting for this to dry, so I can come back, is I'm going to start tapping in just a few colors back in here that maybe I want to brighten up. I want to definitely brighten up something here because it got a little dark on me. Now I'm in a smaller brush and just using whites and light greens and stuff.
Joyce would like to know, in order to paint loose like this, would it help to hold my brush higher or hold it like a pencil?
I hold it like a pencil, but
yeah, but you know how to paint loose.
Yeah, I'm painting from my shoulder, not my wrist. That's what would help, paint from your shoulder. It came up too, and then we're going to do a gem on this too, but if you're painting on an easel, somebody wrote and asked me a really good question the other day. Here, we're going to just do some bright green flowers up in here like this. They asked me, what size easel should I get? Well, what size canvas are you going to be buying? So, for instance, a $100 easel probably won't hold a 48 by 60 canvas, even a 30 by 40 easily. 36 by 48 probably is as big as you're going to go, but still, you know. So then you're going to ask yourself that, and then probably more important than your easel, am I going to be standing or sitting? I prefer to sit and have my easel go up and down. I know my daughter Cinnamon likes to stand, and one of my students, I insisted she get a chair. I said, God, why are you standing? Of course, this is a woman who gets up at 6 in the morning and jogs around the lake too. Maybe there's some clue in there about that. But anyway, she said, well, so if you're standing, then or sitting, it doesn't really matter. You either have to have a chair that's going up and down, and you can adjust the height on, or a stool. I prefer something with arms, so I can rest my arms on it. Like right here on the table, you can't see it, but my elbow's resting on the arm, and I'm just doing this a lot of times, okay? Not always, but sometimes, right? So now, see, I'm just dotting in these brighter greens here, see? Okay, and now I'm going to get out a phthalo green, because I want some color surprise. And then we're going to go back and work on the poppies a bit. I think paintings like this are really, they're fun, right? So here's a little bit of phthalo green, and that's the mixing white, so I want it brighter, okay? Here's some phthalo green. Well, you wouldn't use a lot of this, but you might add some of this in a couple places. Okay.
If you made this a marsh scene, Could you just make the heavy clouds to the horizon on the left?
Oh, not have this?
Yeah, I guess you're going to do marsh all the way back.
Well, you could, I don't know, just try it and see. I don't know.
I don't,
I've
from
got
a
this as
design
the
point, I
balance. This
don't
is
know.
this. I think there's a balance in the design here, right?
Yeah, you'd
Could
have
you-
to design that one out and look at
You'd
that.
have to
I
look
don't
at
know
it
on
and
that
see,
one.
just to do a few things. But anyway, here's the main trick here about your, this is what I want to share with you about your, about your easels or painting. Do not let your hand get above your ear. Now, either raise the easel, get a taller chair, stand up, whatever you have to do. Don't get that arm above your ear. And why, you say? Because all the blood runs out of your arm and you're going to get tired really fast. That is one of the nicest things I can think of to tell you.
And
Seriously.
probably keep the arm at heart level or below.
Yeah, you want to watch that arm, so the easel has to go up and down. So then, the other thing is important to be able to stand up and back away from your painting. If you don't have room to do that, get a mirror and put it behind you. A cheap $10 mirror at Walmart. And then what you do is can you see me? Can you see me? You can see me. I'm going to turn around, pretend there's a mirror here, and I'm going to then, I'm going to look in the mirror. I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm pointing at when I'm looking at the mirror, I'm pointing at my painting to see where it's wrong. And then I'll look down at the painting. Or you've got to go to the bathroom and take your painting and hold it in front of a mirror there. That's a good thing to do too, yeah? Yes and yes. Okay, you could do that. All right, you see how we're just starting to add the little bits of lights and color here, like that?
Do you have a light source on this one? Is the sun coming from the front of the picture?
Yeah, the sun's kind of coming from this, like this, you know, kind of from these clouds. It's kind of an overcast day. There's no real big light source in here. It's a little bit of a reflection in the pond here of this. So we don't have a big light source. We're just, in this case, we're just using the light to, we're using a bits of white, you know, like the white flowers and so forth, to kind of give your eye an S pattern, okay? You're coming through here like that, between that and the white and the yellow, you know? You're coming up here like this, and we're just bringing your eye a little bit through here, like that. Then back around. Here we go. Let's just get that yellow next to that purple. Okay, brighter colors come forward, darker colors recede. So if it's all bright back here, this really won't work that well. Let's get a little bit more red around the edge of the pond here. There you go. If I wanted to, I didn't define the pond so much in this other one, but I did in this one here. Just sort of suggests there might be something there. Now I can take a little bit of white here and just drop a bit of that in the center of my poppies, just because I could, because here's some white. I've got a little glob of it. Some of them are not going to be flat. Some of them are not flat. Some of them are looking up like this, but we'll just do a couple here like that. A little bit of white in the center of these. Okay. And I know, I thought this was sort of a fun, you guys think this is sort of a fun one to do? I mean, I think this is sort of fun to me. Let's get this a little brighter here. Because I think that, you know, again, it's very impressionistic. Let's get these leaves a little brighter here on this.
Hey, we'd like to thank Joanne for the donation and a thank you both and admins.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you very much. And thank you, Joanne. That's very sweet.
Where did you get your skills from? College, or were you a gifted child?
I'll tell you what. In college, they didn't teach art. They don't teach jack, right? Just sorry, you get
Both
history
of us
of
had
art
the same
and you
experience
design,
in
but
that.
you just, that's not where you're going to get it.
No.
I promise you, that's not where you're going to. I studied under a lot of different teachers, you know, one-on-one people. I was a child prodigy as far as art went. You know, I got into the École des Beaux-Arts in Switzerland when I was 15, and they only take people that speak French, and you know, I could barely order a sandwich in French, and they want college students after 2 years, and yet they accepted me. So, I mean, yes, I've always was good at art, but this acrylic thing, there was no acrylics. So as a teenager, when I was about 17, they came out with acrylics, and nobody knew anything about them. So I created, and anybody that did acrylics, they were doing them like watercolors. I was doing them like oil paintings, and that was my goal, was to, to kind of get them like oil paintings, okay? And
That's why
so,
you see
so
she
a
uses
lot
very
of
little
what
water.
you're seeing here, this you don't see me doing a lot of water with them, because I'm using more of a watercolor technique with them, as opposed to, here, I want a little blue down here in my red here. Let's just come down here like this, and there we go. We're just going to pull some color down here like this, maybe some green.
What is the focal point of this particular painting?
Well, it's these flowers in the front. Not the house. The house in the back is just sort of is a part of the cast, but the focal point is these flowers in the front. Now
Got to be the foreground.
what we're doing now is starting to take the red now and go thicker on the flowers. Do you see this? Now I'm really piling that on, and I'm piling on the yellow, and I'm building up these flowers in the front, about 4 of them, so that they're really thick. Here, this one's facing this way, okay? So now as I add these, right, now I know that it's just, you've got to be real careful. So this part of the, is brighter, okay? Want this in here brighter, like that. So the focal point for me, for us, is the flowers in the front, and that's what the white colors are. The light colors and the little bits of white here on the flowers, and I'm just dropping paint like that. And the idea is I want this to feel like it was done with a palette knife, okay? So, I mean, and that's the trick. I want this to feel like it was done with a palette knife. For instance, one of the things I could have done on these flowers here is, maybe even done a dark center on them. Might do that instead, a little purple dark center, okay? Okay, like that, like just a little dark center on the flowers. But what I want is this to feel more palette knife. Now, if I were going to do a palette knife, now this is where it comes in at the very end, right? You can do something like this. When you start having enough paint, this is the trick. When you start having enough paint, okay, like this, you can come like this, and
Very carefully.
very carefully, you barely touch it. Now, I'm not recommending everybody do this, right? But I'm just saying that this is where
Because you're just laying it on top of it.
I'm barely touching this now, right? And I'm laying it on top. And I like a palette knife like this because it's got 3 sides. It's got this side, well, 2 sides on this one. Some of them have 3. So see, I'm barely touching it now, like that, and just bringing in that, and then I can take like this, the yellow, like that, and make a nice bright green color. Okay, now here's the trick with this. Start with the clean palette knife.
Barbara would like to say, I finished a painting. Finally, I worked and worked on it. I am so proud of myself. Thank you, Ginger, for giving me the courage to paint.
Oh, Barbara, I'm so pleased. I'm so glad that you did that. Okay, so here we go. Dry yours before you do this. Okay?
Don't do this at home, people.
Yeah, see, dry yours before you do this. See how the, now I'm gonna,
Those are your little stemmies.
little stemmy things. And the thing to do is that don't, be prepared to, turn your palette. See?
Your canvas.
Your canvas. Yeah, turn it. Yeah, well, that's right. Be prepared to turn it, right? And
Can you use student grade paints to get that look that you're getting now, or are they just too thin?
too thin, and they're too thin unless you put some sort of like modeling paste or something with them. They're too thin.
I don't think you have enough pigment in them either to
Yeah.
get the brightness and the colors you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and this is it too. I mean, people are sitting there going, well, where did you, right? And I want a little, maybe some dark purple ones too. Here, I want something darker.
It didn't teach. If they didn't teach you art in school, what are they teaching? Not art.
Well,
I had the same problem when I went to school. I was in graphic arts, and they taught me nothing.
everybody had tenure. Cinnamon ran into that too when she was going to art school. She actually did very well. Cinnamon was lucky enough to be able to have some phenomenal art teachers. Besides me, she had, and when she went to college, she went to Texas A&M, Prairie View at Texas A&M, right? And Reverend Talley was one of her instructors, and a famous artist. And he got, even though the Texas A&M at Prairie View is a historically black college, Cinnamon went and because of Reverend Talley and his reputation as an artist, and so she got some wonderful background in design and stuff that you wouldn't normally get, you know. And then also she went to a school called Art Center in Houston, which was the school for like making videos and in design and commercial art in college, right? That kind of stuff, right? So she was lucky. She, you know, I mean, I learned from, you know, what I learned in college was just assignments, you know. I pretty much had to go. I found, well, Cinnamon went and found Reverend Talley at Prairie View. I think he's now retired, but I went and found really good artists that taught and would take workshop after workshop to learn what they knew, too. Read a lot of books. And started painting from the time I was 18. It was in galleries by the time I was 20, and was a professional artist in no time. But one grows over the years as far as knowledge goes. And if I would say this, you know, everybody says, are you a leading authority on acrylics? You bet. And that's why we're doing these ginger gems. I mean, are there other people that know some stuff? Absolutely. One of the things that I can say with certainty is that every artist will have something they can share that we can all benefit from. And I share the stuff that I know because a lot of this is the things that are just, that I do, that I'm only one aware of that does it, and I want to pass that on before I croak.
Hey, let's say it a little differently.
Yeah, how's that?
Before I go on to my next adventure.
I don't know, croaking sounds fine.
Oh, well, there you have it.
So there you have it. And people say, well, you know, what's your background? We need to do a better bio on the...
Yeah, we do. We have to update all that stuff.
We have to update the bios.
We have somebody supposed to be helping us do that. We haven't given her the insight, though.
I know. She's not sick, is she?
No.
Who all was sick? Tanya wasn't feeling well.
I thought Tanya was, but she's here tonight. And Judy's feeling under the weather.
Well, I was starting to tell you guys about this ring, this one that monitors everything I do. And knows things, right? My knowledgeable ring. And what it knows is, I thought I was getting a good 8 hours sleep a night. What the ring told me was, you're not.
Not even close.
Not even close. I mean, so not even close, it's not even closely funny, right?
I just want to see how close it matches my Apple Watch.
Yeah, John's getting a ring too. His is coming.
Yeah, mine will be here when I get back from the birthday bash. Hello from California. Would you suggest adding a significant larger flower up front to push everything back?
Well, this is some of the grass I'm putting in here. It's kind of doing that too, right? But no, I wouldn't put a big out of proportion flower in here, no. So what I've got here, right?
I probably wouldn't deviate too much from what Ginger's got there.
What I'm doing here now is I'm going ahead and putting on, you know, remember how we had the flowers on the vines? And I'm going ahead and putting a few of those back like this. This is why I don't, you know, always do a lot of big ones, because it takes a little longer. But
no, that's fine. You're doing fine.
Here we go. So I've got a few little dots on here like that. I'm putting those on, and let's see. I think I put that white paint. I'll use this. I had some white paint. I'll use this.
Oh, Eric finally made it. Oh, my word, I finally made it. Thank you, Eric, for the donation, buddy. We greatly appreciate that.
Wow, and Eric's been busy working. It's so nice.
He's out Ubering.
You know, we had somebody one time make the comment, and if you haven't joined our Facebook club yet, that is the best place. And I got to say, I've been so impressed with what everybody's been doing as far as the paintings from the tutorials. I'm telling you what, we did a bridge, last week with some snow, and I've seen some of the ones come in. Thought some of you had much better ideas about it than I did. I was just wildly impressed with what the bridge, right? What you guys did. Really impressed, okay? It was awesome. See, here's the next layer of bread. Really, really impressed. Okay. Okay, there we go. Playing with the whites. There goes our poppies in the front. And I think I'm about ready to call this one done. See if I want to do, I said I put a little bit of light paint somewhere, and I was going to do a few little dots in here like that. And
Ginger, do you still use your painted luggage?
Yeah.
It went all the way to, California and back, I
Went through the
believe.
Panama Canal, yeah. I do, and people comment on it. In fact, I need to paint some more. I'll tell you what, the luggage that I really like is the luggage with the, now you have to be so careful with this because everything's wet. Do you see that? I mean, now I'm just dropping paint.
Now you're pushing your luck.
Yeah, if you keep going, you've got to be really careful because everything's still wet. So that's what I'm doing now, is just sort of doing that. Now, if you're doing a palette knife, right, and one of the things you want to do is just walk away from it for a while and let everything dry and then come back. That is real important. You know what I mean? That is real important. Because you've got to give it a chance to dry and do its thing. And I still want to put some color surprise back. I lost a little bit of it. So I want to put a little bit of phthalo green and white. I want some of this bright color right up in the front. Colors can do that too. Bright colors can do that too. And here's a little of my yellow here. There you go. I want something bright in the front here. And the phthalo blue and white too. Did I lose all my white? I had some white. Here it is. It uses up a lot of paint. And I'm not even using a palette knife. I want you to know, if we were using a palette knife, we'd
be out of paint.
We'd be out of paint, okay? Absolutely out of paint. Okay, I'm just going to lighten up around these flowers just a bit. Okay, right like that. All right, so kind of lighten up around those flowers, because that's the thing, wherever there's a light, there's a dark. So that's what I'm going to do, is just take a moment and lighten up. Those red flowers, even though they're bright, they're very dark. Does that make sense? And let's see, where's some yellow?
Ginger, can you show us your luggage? No, we have a video on the luggage that we did.
We have a video on the luggage, how to paint the luggage. It's gorgeous.
It's on there on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. Two luggage is really nice. It's the stuff
We did
on how
a
to paint
toucan
luggage.
and a South American sunset.
Yeah, and the parrot is beautiful painted on the luggage. People still, stop me and comment on that. Oh, here's the yellow. Okay. All right. So here we're still working on this, right?
Are you going to be making the poppies more red?
No. This
they
is
look
as
pretty
red
red.
as
You
they
may
go.
not see it on your television, but on mine they look pretty
Yeah, they're
darn bright.
very red. Right now I'm just putting in some brighter colors in the front to pop it. Does that make no pun intended, right?
To pop the poppies.
To pop the poppies. I'm putting in some brighter colors like this to pop the poppies.
More specifics about the ring.
Oh,
Go to our Amazon store and you can go to the link about them.
They're called motive rings, and they're on our Amazon store.
Oh, here I can pop up a picture of it. I have that handy.
Yeah, and do we have that little case? Where's that little case go that I showed you? What I liked about it was they sent you, it was such a class act, they sent you a box with all the different sizes in and told you to wear it for a couple days. They didn't have the electronics in it, but they were the same,
I can't get to
same
them,
ring.
So I'm plugged in anymore.
Where is it? Is it behind me?
No, it's over there. I moved it out.
They sent me this really cool box, right? And so with the idea was that what you do is you wore the ring. John's been doing that. You can show him. Are you wearing yours?
No.
Okay, you wear it for a few days to make sure which size is the most comfortable, because you just leave this on in the shower, you sleep with it, and again, it tells you how much you slept. And I really thought I was getting a lot more sleep than apparently I was getting. I mean, I was shocked. Okay. So here we go. I'm still putting in the flowers.
Ginger, are you going to take John's last name after marriage?
I don't know. We haven't decided.
There's no way. It's your choice.
I know, but we haven't decided. There, see? Now I want you to see, look, it's the
Well,
same flowers.
Let me
Can you
back
see
up.
that?
Let me back up with Skosh.
See?
Yeah.
Do you see? It's the same picture,
Only bigger.
just bigger, okay? With the same little dots of light in it, same lights and darks, right?
There you go.
Just bigger. Isn't it the same picture?
It is the same picture.
Just bigger.
You have a little more water in the second one because you have more room.
Well, I had a little more room, and I did have a little more water in the second one. I think I had a little more purple in this one. I put a little bit of light purple up around
Yeah, I
this
kind of like
water,
that
which
light.
was
Yeah,
nice.
right on the edge there.
Right on the edge, I like that, and I had a little bit of this light purple over here too, which I kind of liked. Sometimes that hurt, there's probably things about this I like and things I like about the other one.
You just leave your travel paint and luggage packed all the time, ready to go.
Well,
Pretty much.
I have certain clothes that I realize I pack a whole, suitcase full of clothes, and there's like 5 things I'll wear on a cruise all the time, and then I wonder why I brought the other stuff, right? So, from that standpoint, yeah. So that's kind of interesting. Let's see, where's our long? Here, if you've ever seen a long, here I'm going to show you this. This is a long palette knife, okay? And why you want a long palette knife, okay? Can you see this? Why you want a long palette knife? And this is for a field of flowers like this. You can just, the trick is you have it just on the edge like this. And you can't really make these thin lines otherwise. This is very abstract with the flowers, but also you can see something of what they are, okay? Just those extra little lines right there.
Yes, the ring has a little tiny computer in it with a battery.
Oh yeah. The electronics go all the way around. There's a little battery. It charges about every 3 days for about 90 minutes, and there's a little magnet that plugs into this little tiny thing in the back of your computer. You just hang it on it for 90 minutes, and you come back, put the ring on. And like, for instance, I took a nap this afternoon, and I thought I'd slept for half an hour. I said, no, you slept for an hour. Did you?
So that made you feel better. Go, ooh, goody.
Well, I just kept thinking I was getting so much more in the way of sleep than I was. Does that make sense? I mean, I kept thinking, no, but then it said, well, let's see, you actually went to sleep at 2, and you got up at 7, and let's do the math, right? There we go. Just put a few weeds through some of the flowers, like that.
In the sky of the smaller one, did you use a bit of purple in it?
In the smaller one up here, yeah, there was a bit of purple in the smaller one up here in the sky. There was, A little tiny bit of purple. Probably was on my brush. A little bit of purple. But, if you wanted that, now I'm kind of done with the front part of this. So if you wanted to do that, this is how you do it. These are good questions, right? So
just dry brush a little
what you
purple
just
in
take
there.
a little bit of the purple color, right? And with a little bit of yellow, a little tiny bit, because you don't want it too bright, right? And let's see, some white.
You still want it purpley.
And just, you can tap a little purple in here like this, in the clouds. It changes it just a little bit, but you can, because it's dry. See that? So you just barely touch. The trick is don't overdo it. Don't touch it to it. See a little bit of how this red kind of peeks through the trees, which is kind of nice. And that's the same thing with this here too. Like, it was a little bit lighter back here, even though it's kind of yellow oxide. Just this, because we put this over red. We put this whole thing over red, which then becomes, it's a different story then, because it's over red. And so the whole picture changes a little bit when it's over red. And again, see, my background wasn't real bright, but you see this red back here that wasn't real bright. If I go back up like this and just add, even in a couple places, just add a bit of, can you keep it flat, okay? You can add red to this and suggest the flowers are still going back here like that. I've got some really good poppy pictures from France. So this is kind of a cool way to do it. And then here's this other stuff too. Here's our funny little colors, remember? Here's this, it looks like orange right out of the tube, right? I think we did a little, you don't want to do too much of that, but we might brighten up a couple poppies up here. There we go. Just brighten those up. And I think we'll call this done. You get the idea of how you might paint it?
I don't know if that's a good title for it. It looks like a field of poppies. Why would you call it done? That's kind of a silly name.
It's finished, finished. I'm calling it finished.
Fini.
Le fini, le fini. Okay, just want to see if there's any blue I want to put back there in this.
And why did you choose white for those lines?
I just wanted some light going up. I could have done a pale yellow. I just wanted some light going up, some feeling of weeds going up here like that. In fact, I even could put, you keep going, but I even could put a few dots of this purple magenta going like that up here like this. I would do that, but then at that point I'd quit. So, you know, I think sometimes, you know, this is a, you know, kind of a fun way to, you know, it has the feel of a palette painting. Now, if you really wanted it to feel, you let this dry for about a week, and then I would take some clear gel and go over it with a palette knife the way you think you might have painted it. And when that, it'll look all white when it dries, it'll look like you did the whole thing in a palette knife.
Because it dries clear.
Dries clear.
But when you put it on, it's all white and you freak out.
And you think you screwed up. Though, the thing about it is, it's Golden and Liquitex all do something very similar. Here's some titanium white, and here's some golden glazing liquid. And I know they have different words written on them after that, but it's easy to mix up the stuff, and particularly when all the jars look the same. And one of my students, one time, she had spent a good month on a giant ocean painting, and then she thought she'd give it a quick varnish, right? And, you know, do some varnishing on it. And she grabbed some gesso instead and covered her whole painting white, got up the next morning, it was white. She called me up and said, "What can I do?" And I said, "Start again. You're done."
You have a gesso canvas, go for it.
You can't do anything. And it's easy to understand how it can happen. It's not like they, you know, change the jars. If I had another jar of something, yeah, here. All right, this is zinc white, but I promise you the gel's going to look like that. It's just going to have some different words here. You know?
What was that you grabbed today and you didn't read it and it was something what you thought? What was that?
Here we go, Matisse and pasta medium. Same
ignoring
thing.
That question, are you?
No, I'm trying to think. What was that, John?
I don't remember what it was. Was that today or yesterday? You did something.
Well, today I grabbed this, Golden Open, thinking it was titanium white. Were you talking about this?
No.
I did something else?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm afraid you did.
Got Magoo here over here doing that. See, I had another color I wanted to try. Look at this color. This is called Luminous Rose. Come on, you guys. Don't you want to see this as long as we're playing? Yeah?
We've gone 2 weeks on this one.
All right, I'm putting that color in.
On this cruise come up. Can you varnish after the gel? Yes.
Yeah, but you can't. Well, you don't need to. Varnish before the gel. Don't do it after. Varnish before. Varnish before. The gel is sort of it. Oh, look how bright that is.
Oh, I need sunglasses now.
I'm telling you what, that is nice. Look at that, is cool.
Who would be calling us on a show?
I don't know, but that's shame on them. I love that. This is called Luminous Rose.
Will you back out? Sammy?
What happened?
He kept zooming in.
There. I think that's just, you don't need a lot of that, but that's pretty, isn't it?
It's pretty colorful. What's it called?
It's called Luminous Rose.
And that's
and it's a little, it's like magenta, but it's more of a white, it's more of a Pepto-Bismol pink. Isn't it?
Look at the colors in that.
I mean, that's...
I'm giving you guys a great view. Look at all the colors.
In that picture. Lots of lots of colors in the picture, aren't there? Lots of colors, and then if I had, let's see, I always like to see, Matisse has some of the best reds on the planet, and They just do. Is
Somebody
this a
asked the
7?
question, do you think the French make the best paint? Best acrylic paint?
No. I think the Japanese, the Holbeins are probably the best.
I would go with the Japanese.
The Holbeins, but the Golden is certainly a wonderful paint. It's made in America. Liquitex is a wonderful paint. It's made in France. Old Holland. I don't know. There's a lot of different good brands of paint, but every there's some that I wouldn't. Germany makes some good paint. Everybody makes some good paint. The thing is, you want to. They make a student grade of everything, and then they want the professional. You get a professional brand of pretty much any brand, and you're good to go, you guys. Here, let's just put that red up there. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Just give that a little bit brighter. All right. That was really fun. I thought this was fun. Did you think this was sort of fun, John?
I thought it was fun. I liked it.
And you can see where I just, you can, again, red's one of those colors that you can really have fun with. You just really, really have fun with, because it's just such a, there's so many variations of it, and they're Matisse, Liquitex, Golden. Everybody has their brands. The Matisse has some reds. I didn't bring any out. They're about $40 a tube. They're called System 7s, and they're really something. But I have to say, I like this whole Holbein stuff too. The cad red light and the naphtha red. Those are good colors.
Ginger,
right?
Could you please repeat what you put over to make it look like palette knife painting? Oh, when you're done. What was that? A gel?
Yeah, I would get either Golden or Liquitex gloss gel, like light gel. Don't get the heavy gloss gel. Get just the regular gel or light gel, right? And then you just you've ever frosted a cake?
There you go.
Kind of
Frost
do it like
painting.
that. Follow the brush strokes, and kind of like if you were imagining yourself painting with a palette knife, and you put it on kind of thick, like 16th
I would be a
of an
nervous
inch.
wreck doing that.
Do we have a painting I could do it with? I could show. We have some gel in the other room. Do you guys want to see that? I'll demonstrate. We'll probably have a painting I can cover, and then we'll look at it, and I'll show you what it is. In a couple of weeks, I'll show you what it is, because it takes a few days to dry. If it's dry by tomorrow, I'll show you. John, grab me a painting, and maybe I could do this one. What about this one, John? Just get me some of that gel. I'll do this one.
And what's the gel called again?
Who do we
have?
Well, we want some Golden. We've got some gel in there, gloss gel, some sort of gloss gel, right? Okay, so normally we want a gloss gel, and grab me a varnish, and I'll show you what it is. Because it's really easy to do. It really is, and I'll show you how to do it. Because it's I see people at. I remember, this is a true startling story. Cinnamon and I were at this big art show in New York, and this gallery was just beating up on this artist for selling prints and claiming that they were enhanced. And an enhanced print is where the artist actually physically took up some paint and actually put it on the print. Like, for instance, maybe add a little paint to a flower or something. But what these artists were doing was just taking gel, and like a lightweight gloss gel, and then brushing it on the canvas with kind of a rough brush, so you'd see a bunch of brush marks, and then claiming it had been enhanced. This was before people wised up about that, So, it's hard for people to tell the difference that you haven't done that. And if you do it, you can still do it with the, do a palette knife effect with it too. In fact, you can actually do it with a paper print. If you've got a paper print in your house and you can't part with it, but you wished it looked more like that. Our tar gel is no good. Here's a high solid gel gloss. That'll work. And then this is extra heavy gel gloss. We can give you that. And that's probably that would take about a week to dry, so we won't use that. But we can use that. You can have that one back. So we can use.
And you just want our regular varnish?
Yeah, so here's some regular varnish, right? I'm going to varnish that first and just give it a quick dry. It's all the same stuff, but I'll just take a moment and do that. What shall I put it in? Maybe this lid, huh?
Why don't you let me varnish it real quick?
Well, no, because they've got to see it. Give it to me, back to me. They have to see it varnished.
Varnish it.
Well, give me a brush. They have to see it varnished. I need something to put the varnish in.
Use that one.
Okay. I guess I can put a little varnish right here. I'll just put a drop here.
Right on the paint, right?
No, I'm not going to put it there. There, okay. I'm going to very nicely varnish this. Do you see that? And, okay, there we go. Now, all right, so we're going to varnish that very gently, following the brush strokes. All right, yes, following the brush strokes.
What
like
if you
that.
use string gel? I have that laying
Oh,
around.
no. We're not using that for this.
Don't use string gel. I don't
Not
have a
using
microphone
that,
on.
sorry, we're not using that. That's a whole other technique that's done. I have a video on that too. That's a whole other technique. All right, so now you see how this is this is
No
all
string
varnished,
gel.
right, like that, right? See that? Okay, now what I'm gonna do is just dry this real quick. Just sort of skin it over, yeah? And then I'm gonna put this on it with a palette knife, all right? So just give me a second and I'll dry this and show you how to do it. That is a good trick to do, right? All right, so you see how the colors popped up? Let me dry this. You'll see it.
She said, did you see how the colors popped out? I had already muted her thinking she was going to start drying, but she didn't. So we get a little bonus here, guys. Don't know what else is going on. Anything else? We're going to be gone for 2 weeks. I think we're back on the 11th. I don't know if we'll do a show that day or not. There's a video out there on the string gel somewhere. She's used it on a couple of different occasions. Can you show the jars again so people can grab it one more time what you're
This
playing
is
with?
the Liquitex Gloss Medium and Varnish right there. That's what we're using there.
That's what we use to varnish
That's what
our
we
paintings
use all the
with.
time. And then we're using, not zinc white, we're using...
See,
but
again,
see how they're the same if you didn't read them? See what I'm talking about?
and she'd cover that thing in zinc white and be
we
freaked
don't
out.
want the high tar gel. What's this stuff? Oh, this says high solid gel. Sorry, I thought I saw
No, I took the tar one away.
Oh, good.
What is the tar one for?
That's like string gel.
Oh, but it's not. It's different.
All right. So basically, I would varnish it and let it dry overnight. Okay. Well, we're not going to do that. So, but that's what we would do.
Pretend like we did. Pretend like it's tomorrow.
We just did that, right?
Now what are you looking for?
Now I'm looking for a different palette knife, like the one I had. I had a small one. Is that in the you were washed at yesterday? Was that in the?
They all came back.
They didn't all come back.
Everything came back.
Didn't either. I had a little tiny palette knife that.
Do you want me to go over there and look for it?
No.
I'd be happy
I'll
to
use
get it
this.
for you.
All right, here you go. Okay. Now you ready for this? Now I'm going to put this on here, like I'm frosting a cake. Okay.
And this is going to dry clear.
This is going to dry clear.
Hmm.
Okay. And I'm just going to come around here. You can do it with the brush too if you wanted, if you were doing a different technique.
And do you have to varnish it first? Or is that just really you should?
No, you should varnish it first, absolutely. Okay. All right, so now, now look, the painting's disappearing, right?
Yes.
Okay, like
and the
that.
stock photos are freaking out.
I know, that's why I just checked, make sure you didn't do white paint. Now I'm getting this pretty thick here, see? And of course it would be easier on a larger canvas. Something small like this is a little tricky, so I wanted that littler palette knife.
See what she said, Sammy?
I want the little palette knife. I don't see any little palette knife.
Walk in front of you.
Okay, all right. I see no little palette knife, all right? Because I want it to, I don't want all the brush strokes the same. Does that make sense? I don't want all the palette knife strokes the same.
No, I wouldn't either.
See what I'm trying?
You forced me up.
Okay, you found it, right?
Yeah.
See, it didn't all come back. See?
Well, no, these were hidden.
Yeah, okay, so I want this is a little one for this size canvas, right? So I'm going to come up here like this with the, and you don't have to cover the whole thing. I'm just going to come up here like this and cover these flowers. Okay, like this. You know, I did them pretty thick. And again, I know this is scary. Okay. And then sometimes you can just maybe do something like that. It will all, because I already have some thick texture on here, right? So this will just make it thicker in places. And that's how I probably would have painted this if it were a palette knife. Maybe I'll do some brush strokes going back this way and then up and down. Now, don't keep going over it because you can turn it white. Once you do it, then stop, okay? And because it will dry clear.
No matter how thick you put it on?
Well,
Or does it
eventually,
get cloudy?
experiment at home. Find something you don't
I
care
am at
about.
home and I'm experimenting.
Find something you don't care about and do it. See, that's the trick. Try not to glue it down to something. Put something underneath it that's not going to glue down. Now let me just dry something right here and I'll show you. Okay?
You can do that.
Yeah.
It won't flatten out though.
Nope.
All right. There she goes. All right. Anything else going on in the messages here? Let's see what we got going on. Now I see how it can mix up with the gesso. Oh yes. Yeah, you got to watch it. I don't know why they make all the containers the same. I guess packaging, cost of packaging and making different colors would cost money. Looks pretty good. Will we be sharing some of our activities from the birthday cruise? Absolutely. I still got a bunch more videos for you guys for the Panama Canal trip and all the other trips. Tons of editing to do, tons of videos. I'm trying to make some quickie stuff to at least give you guys something more to look at. So look for those coming soon. I don't see any other questions. I think we got them all.
I can't dry the whole thing with the hairdryer, but can you see where the house is showing up now?
Yep.
I want to unstick it from this. See where the house is showing? See how you can see the house through it now?
Yeah.
See, it's starting to show through. Can you see that?
And even some of the other areas.
Yeah, and you just don't want to touch it now. You just, I'm touching it, but don't touch it. Just let it dry clear. You can see how it's starting to dry, and
Well, how fun is that?
Just a little tricky thing,
Now, is that really designed to be used with the paint itself at the same time?
You use it with paint.
Yeah.
You'd use it with paint. Like for instance, example, you'd use it with. Well, everybody's here, nobody's left. So let me get this has got to dry flat now.
So would you like me to take that from you?
Yeah, this has absolutely got to dry flat. Let's just put that on
here. I
here.
put my microphone back on so nobody's been able to hear me.
Here. So here's an example of if we used it with some paint, right? Like this. Here's some paint in here. I want to show you what you can do with it, right? So if you were doing something, you can add color to it. Do you see that?
We'll take a look at it tomorrow, see if it's dried enough.
I'm just saying, this is how you'd normally use something like this, right? You add color to it, and
so that way you're using a lot less paint.
Yeah.
So we assume that gel is a lot less expensive than paint.
Oh, it is. So, I mean, it absolutely is. And so you're talking about, but the thing is, you don't want to use, like, for instance, you see me using all these reds, right? Well, see how the reds want to go muddy if you mix all the colors together, right?
Right.
So
you got to be careful.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you're doing something like this, because you can come up here and just notice I've got a lot of colors. Let's see, I'm grabbing all these colors on my palette knife. All right, and so where I did the gel, it's so much thicker. Otherwise, you're talking about using a lot of paint. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So one of the reasons you want to use gel.
So go ahead, put the top back on and hold the jar back under there again for us.
Sure, you want to use gel. I like, you know, sometimes I'm doing stuff. I'll do if I'm doing a big ocean, I might use the extra heavy gel.
To get the waves really wavy.
But the high solid gels glass, just any kind of the one that's not quite so thick as this, but still works really well, is just this gloss gel. It's not high solid anything. It's just gloss gel. It's a little flatter, but it still gives you that textured feeling.
Didn't you do your sunflower with that on YouTube?
I didn't.
You did not.
I
Okay.
did not.
That
And
came
then
up. They
this is
thought you
one of
did.
the few times where you don't use when you're using gels, you don't use a rag, you just use a paper towel or something, because it just, you know, to clean your stuff with, you use a paper towel. But you can carve in it, you know, you can, just saying, I mean, I have fun with, you know, I have fun with this.
Now, could you, so when this is dry, you don't varnish over that? It acts as a varnish?
You do not varnish over it.
Okay. Would you ruin it if you did? Do you have to protect it in any way?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
It's ready to go. Out the door.
Ready to go. Here's my little crazy abstract. Yes? There. Okay. So I'm just saying that you don't ruin it at all, but it doesn't hurt to let it skin over before you keep adding stuff. Does that make sense? Because this is like floating something on the surface. I mean, it's so wet, right? So if I'm floating a color on this, I have to barely touch it. Do you see that? See, I can float this red on it.
But you plop and go.
Yeah, because the more I go into it, it will dig it into there, right? It would dig it into that, right? So you're going, well, okay, so what could you know? So I think that's the fun thing is that you've got to, palette knife stuff is to really do it well. You've got to let it dry in between certain layers, right?
Look at the waves. What is the difference between the gel and the paste?
Oh, the gel's clear. Modeling paste, you can't see through it.
Modeling paste is going to dry white or whatever you color it.
It dries the color, or you cannot see through it. It's opaque. Gels are clear. Okay. So that's a big difference right there, wouldn't you say? I mean, you're talking about, you know, what's the difference between all of this? Let's just get a little.
And what's the reason for varnishing before we apply this?
I like to do that because the varnish binds with the Liquitex medium and varnish, not other varnishes. Liquitex medium and varnish molecularly binds with the surface and adds another strength. It brings out the color.
So
and
it's more of the gluey.
And it brings your paints together, right?
Okay.
See, I mean, you can see I can barely put on that yellow because it's too. See how wet this is, but if this were to skin over.
Oh, you can put a cap in there.
Where did you come from? You're fun. Just well, all right. So you can kind of see that's what you do. Now, if I wanted to do anything else with this, I'd have to skin this over. I would actually like some lighter white in here, right? And for me, if I was doing, you know, kind of looking at this and saying what else could I add, for me it would be. Do I have any of this white left over? I left up here, right? For me.
So that's the golden opens you're putting on it now?
Yeah. See?
Cool.
Well, I mean, that's... there you go. See,
This will be available on our next auction.
Yeah, this is just I mean, I'm just saying that was it's kind of fun. You can do some fun abstracts with leftover paint, you know, if you're not too crazy about, you know. But I'm saying it wouldn't hurt to let it dry first and just kind of let all that sit. But you're literally taking paint, barely touching it, just floating on the next color, unless of course you dry it.
Have you ever used golden, I think it's golden, or whoever has the glass bead mediums?
Yeah, but the problem with those glass beads that I have personally found is that they don't really show up. See, I like that, right? Now, what I would do the string gel for is over this fish. the string gel needs to go over this fish, but that's different. That almost is like when you pour it on, it's almost like glass when it dries. It takes about a week to dry. It's white too, and when it dries, it looks like you put your picture under glass. All right, let me move this out of the way. I want to show you our finger things, our ring things. This is what they sent us. The motivation wrapped. These are the different size rings that they sent us, and so maybe you wanted to wear one on your little finger instead.
Which they don't recommend.
Which they don't recommend, but you could, you could. But just as an example, or a different finger, right? You want to wear it on this index finger. So they let you wear these little test rings around to see if you like them, and then you tell them the size, and then they send it to you, right?
Yep.
Which is, and I think these are just cool. That's probably one of my happier things that we got this year, just as far as kind of something you're doing for your health. I love the idea of it. I'm now making more of an effort to get more sleep. I really thought I was getting a lot more sleep than I was.
Now you're more tired than before you had the ring.
Well, now I know why I'm tired. I just, and that totally makes sense. Let me just.
On the painting tonight, where would you sign it?
Oh, on this painting right here? Let's put our painting back, right? I'll show you in a minute. It's wet, but I'd probably sign it right along here. I see a little flat spot right there. I'll sign it right there. I've got my tub of towels. Did you see? That's the other thing that happens with palette knife is your hands get really dirty. It's my tub of towels. I'm telling you what. Just that saved a shirt and so forth. That was really a good thing. So we're having we're going to have a really good time. We're going to try and send this is why if you want to know what we're doing in the next couple of weeks, join our Facebook club. It's free. Ginger Cook Facebook club. Ginger Cook Acrylic, the Ginger Cook Acrylic Painting Club. I guess that's what it's called, right?
I'm almost thinking you can go to our website /Facebook. I think I set it up that way.
Anyway, I mean, because then you're going to get the pictures, and we're going to post pictures of what the group's doing, and it'll be probably on Facebook. Obviously, we can't do it on YouTube. And I'll look for another gem during the week. We're going to, of course, be doing the fish tomorrow night. I will show you. You asked me about signing this. I would probably do it right here. Do me a favor, John, and put that flat somewhere. Was that right? Can you move again? No, you can't, can you?
Yeah, I just have to unhook myself.
That's all right. I just was going to try and do that abstract, that abstract thing I just did.
I don't want it flopping on the floor.
Now, here we go. Let's just see about, do you shake your pens up? I mean, that's key here. Personal question? All right, so somebody said, where would you sign it? Right here on the side. It's where the signature is going. No. Then I'm going to put the red slash through it with a tiny little brush and some red paint. But that's how I would sign it, just kind of small in there like that. Huh? Yes and yes. Well, that wasn't a tiny little red slash.
Not even close. That whole thing?
Well, you know what it was I dipped that brush in water and didn't wipe it. Boy, I know better than that too, don't I?
You would think. Don't you listen to yourself?
No. Sometimes. There you go.
That's better.
There. So, anyway, that's what this is the point on this is kind of had. It's about ready to find a new home in the trash. All right, so this is our picture for tonight. I hope you guys had fun with that and, just learned a little bit about painting and layering and all that good stuff and mixing white. Here's our rings tomorrow night. We're going to be afternoon at 1 o'clock Central. We're going to be painting this fun little fish, and the inspiration for that was this little picture I found on the net, and you can see where he definitely has little spots all over his little self. And so I think he's fun. We're going to be painting him tomorrow, 8 by 10. Canvas is bright orange.
For those who want to try to paint along.
And that's kind of what we've got. Again, thank you very much for watching and being part of our community, artist community, and I hope you've subscribed to the channel. Anytime you share these on Facebook, you help us get the word out, so we appreciate that too. And for those of you guys who donated, we match your donations and help scholarship other artists in our Art Academy, gingercooklive.gallery. So thanks for that.
Would you like to say anything else?
Yeah, it's just you have any more questions about gels and gels and things you'd like to learn about mediums, let me know. Put it in the comments.
Put in the comments after the video's up and posted.
After the video's up and posted. I know so many of you comment now, we don't get so much after, but that's where you're going to get your questions answered. So say good night.
Good night. Ooh, 2 hours. You got carried away.
We did.
All right. Sammy and Judy, you're up.
I'm a student, I say with glee, of Ginger Cook's Academy. Take your time and do not rush. Use ruby satin, silver brush. Don't use black and mix the green. Learn what blend and grayscale mean. Yes, I hope each day to earn coaching praises as I learn. I'll be an artist, wait and see. Ginger means the world to me.